lot of gardeners I know really enjoy planting spring flowering bulbs. They're some of the first plants to burst forth into brilliant color in the springtime. One of the reasons I really like planting these plants is because they're so easy. You just put them in the ground, you don't have to do a lot to them, and then you get those beautiful flowers in the early spring. We can think of the bulbs as like this little pre-packaged bundle of energy. It's got the leaf bases included in the bulb here, and it's got a little immature flower bud deep inside, and it's already got all the energy it needs pretty much to grow and to provide a nice blooming flower early in the spring. Well, we're going to plant a few bulbs, a few different types of bulbs in this little area out here in our arboretum. It's an area that gets pretty good sun, and the soil is very well drained. A fact that is really important to the health of the bulbs. We don't want to plant our bulbs in heavy clay. Well-drained soil is best. Well, we've got some tulips here, we've got a few hyacinths, we've got some smaller bulbs, and some crocus, some grape hyacinths, and things like that that we're going to be putting in the ground. Now, late October, the month of November, and throughout a lot of December, we can plant our bulbs for the spring. That'll give them plenty of time for chilling to give us those great flowers in the springtime. If you were to purchase some bulbs in the fall and it's still pretty warm, say maybe early to mid-September, and the temperatures are still pretty warm, you need to store those bulbs somewhere cool, dark, and dry. Somewhere where the temperature is about 50 to 60 degrees would be a good location, like maybe a basement. Now, some gardeners will put their bulbs in the refrigerator, but if you do that, you need to make sure that there are no ripening fruits and vegetables in the refrigerator with your bulbs, because as those fruits ripen, they give off ethylene, which acts as a plant hormone, and it causes different effects in plants and in bulbs. It can cause the senescence or the death of the flower bud. So if you put them in there with those fresh fruits, it could mess up the flowering point or the bud, and wouldn't look very good in the springtime. Well, we've got this area worked up really well. We've tilled the ground here, loosened it up for the bulbs, and of course there are a number of ways you can get them into the ground. Here's a hand trowel that's got some measurements in inches along the blade there. And a good general rule to follow when putting bulbs in the ground is to put them about 2 to 3 times as deep as they are tall. So we're going to plant these tulip bulbs about 6 inches deep. And instead of using this trowel, I'm going to use a bulb planter like we got right here. And you can see how this works. It's got the hole there, and you just put that in the ground. You can step on it here, and it'll pull out a soil plug, and it makes it pretty easy to get the bulb in the ground. Well, I like planting bulbs in groups or clumps or what we might call masses rather than in straight lines. So we just kind of arrange them here in kind of an irregular pattern and just kind of pull one out there, and we'll get a plug of soil, kind of twist it and pull it out there, and then we just put the bulbs in the hole. Now, when we put them in the hole, we need to make sure that when they land, that the bulb plate is facing down and the point, the bud or the growing point, is facing up. So you might have to take a stick or something and kind of just jostle those around to make sure the point is up. Now, the reason we want to do that is because if we put some of them in right side up and some of them in upside down, whenever it's going to take that bud a little bit longer to grow and turn and come back up toward the light, and they won't flower in a uniform fashion. So we'll continue to put these in the ground, and I'll show you right here how you get the soil plug out of the bulb planter. You just push it down, and or maybe back here a little bit, and it pops the soil out of the front, and we can just kick that over into the hole. And again, 2 to 3 times as deep as the bulb is tall. Over here in this tilled area, over here we've got some of these grape hyacinths, and these only need to go in the ground about 2 to 3 inches, so we can actually, with a loose soil, just kind of press those into the ground. Now, you don't want to crush your bulb, so make sure the soil is loose enough. But we'll just put those smaller bulbs in the ground in that way. The tulips and hyacinths generally don't live that long. Those are bred to where they are more useful as one springtime display of a huge flower. They're not really developed for their perenniality. Now, some of the other bulbs, like the daffodils, the crocus, the grape hyacinths, you can put those in the ground and they'll give you lots of years of enjoyment. We'll water these in, we'll pull the mulch over those about 2 to 3 inches, and we'll be in great shape for those. Another way to plant bulbs is to just dig a hole about 6 inches deep, like we've got back here. And we're just gonna put some daffodils in place here. And we don't have to use a trowel or a bulb planter. We'll just excavate in this way and have a nice little clump of daffodils back in this part of the garden. And instead of all that use of the bulb planter, we can just cover them with the soil and fill that up to ground level, and we should have a nice display of daffodils for years to come. So good luck getting your spring flowering bulbs planted this fall.